Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the John DeVito Show. I've been away for a while, but I'm back on this Sunday morning just to get together and chat a little bit. It is a beautiful day here in Massachusetts, but the storm's coming, everybody. The storm is coming. So I'm going to send out some prayers to my friends in Louisiana, the Gulf Coast, my buddy Jeremy from down in Alabama. I know that big storm is coming. It's now a Category 5. So my prayers are going to be going out to everybody. So we're going to have a brief show this morning, just talking about a few things that are going on in the world. And I hope everyone's doing well. So welcome to my show, and we'll get this thing going in a minute. What's going on in your world right now? Hopefully everything is going well. Hopefully everybody is doing well. I know we're in a time of craziness right now, but hopefully things are going to get better soon on a lot of fronts. So we'll talk about some of that stuff today. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the John DeVito Show. It is Sunday, August 29th. I can't believe we are almost into September. I mean, the summer is passing us by. You know, we're getting into the fall. Before I know it, we're going to have that nasty white stuff falling here in the Boston area. So, you know, it's all good, I guess. I mean, change of seasons is coming. Up here anyway, the summer has been kind of a rainy and cold summer anyway. So, you know, it's been a weird summer, though. We've had like long stretches of rain, but when it's been hot here, we've had some really big, heat waves where, we've had over 90-degree temperatures. So it's been kind of a weird summer, but it's been a good summer in a lot of different ways also. So, it is what it is. I'm a summer guy. I always love the summer. So I've enjoyed, every bit of the time I've been able to spend with my family and all the different things that we were able to do this summer. So this past week, we were able to take a couple of days up in Maine. And as anyone that listens to my show knows, I love the state of Maine. So we were up at Sebago Lake in Maine, and I had never been there before. So this is the first time I'd ever been to Sebago Lake, and it's really a cute little lake, about an hour from the coast of Maine and pretty close to the border of New Hampshire as well. But one of the things I enjoyed most about being at Sebago Lake in Maine was a little cruise we took on a lake right near Sebago Lake called Long Lake. And this was a beautiful little lake. I mean, we went on this paddle boat, like this complete replica of the Mississippi Queen that they built, and the thing was really slow. So I could have done without that. I know my kids were bored out of their skulls because I think it traveled maybe 5 miles an hour. The boat was really slow, but we got to see all these houses of these, kind of rich and famous people that had houses on this small kind of unknown lake in Maine. So one of the houses that I thought was really cool was the house of my favorite author, of course, Stephen King, who's from the state of Massachusetts. And welcome, everybody. Eric, good to see you. How you doing, Lil? Welcome to the show. So we saw an old summer home of Stephen King that was right on the shore. And it wasn't like a big mansion or anything. It was really a cute, nice house right on the lake. But apparently he wrote the book Carrie in this particular house, which I thought was pretty amazing because I'm a big Stephen King fan. So that was pretty cool to see that. Then we also saw the house of the current climate czar of the U.S. government, John Kerry, who is married to Teresa Heinz of the Heinz ketchup fortune. So we got to see their home. They've got a big home in Boston. They've got another one down on the Cape, and they've got one in Maine. So they've got their houses everywhere. And it's good to be the climate czar, I guess, and a politician and married to a Heinz because they have the money to buy houses wherever they want. So the other thing that was kind of cool is we saw, I don't know if anyone remembers, this person goes back a little bit, but on ABC News, there was a woman by the name of Joan London who used to be on national ABC News. And she was a good newscaster, whatever. I think she's retired now, but they actually had a big camp-like complex on one of the beaches in Maine. And apparently at this place, they had like a camp for celebrities' kids. And they were saying that if you wanted your child to go to this camp, and a lot of celebrities sent their kids there, it was basically a $15,000 fee for like a 3-week camp. So imagine that, $15,000 for like 3 weeks to send your kids to camp. So just kind of crazy. So anyway, Eric, how you doing, buddy? I'm just going to talk about a few things, Eric, and then we'll have you call in. Got kind of an exciting day today in the DeVito household. As you know, my kids are athletes. My son Ethan is not playing football this year. He decided against it. He's going to be focusing on baseball. But my son Brandon has his first football game today. And the good news is, we have our first football game at 3:00 this afternoon. He's going to be there at 1:15. So I have to leave the house probably by 12 o'clock. So this is going to be a relatively quick show. But he is playing a team called the Worcester Cowboys. This team that we're playing today, this is a rough way to start the season because this team goes to Florida every year to play like in the national championship. They're that good. Now, when my son Ethan played against this Cowboys team a couple years ago, this was 7th grade. They had a kid that was my size on the team. Now, I played Division I college football. I'm 6'4", 275 pounds, whatever I am. And there was a kid on the 7th grade team that was that size that, he was just dominating every other kid on the field. So I think we ended up losing that game like 62-0 a couple of years ago. So my younger son, Brandon, is playing that team today, and I'll report on that this week. But I can imagine unless something amazing happens, it's going to be, not a good thing for our team. So anyway, I'm switching over to my news page, so I'm not going to be able to see any comments that come up in the next couple of seconds. But I wanted to touch on a few things before, I talk a little bit more about some of the things I wanted to chat about today. We're just going to talk about some of the news stories that are happening really quickly. I wanted to say a huge prayer for all the families that lost loved ones in the bombing in Kabul. There were 13 U.S. servicemen killed and women killed in that bombing that happened in Kabul this past week. And one of the people that were killed was from the city I went to high school in, Lawrence, Massachusetts. And she was a young woman that was a Marine, and she was killed in that bombing. And I just want to go out and say a prayer to her family, to say a prayer to all the other families that lost loved ones in that bombing. For me, there's no greater good that you can do in this world than to be someone that's brave enough to be willing to give your life for freedom and to go out and be someone that fights for the people that can't fight for themselves. And it was just such a shame to see that bombing happen. It's a shame to see us lose some of our service people. And I just wanted to say a prayer for all those families out there right now that are dealing with a loss of a loved one. And it did hit us close to home here in Massachusetts with the loss of the young woman from Lawrence, Massachusetts that gave her life. Now, furthermore, I also want to comment on Hurricane Ida. I know we've got some friends of the John DeVito show that live in the New Orleans, Louisiana area, Crazy Kane being one of them. And it looks like now Hurricane Ida has strengthened to a Category 5 storm, or they're projecting it to hit Louisiana as a Category 5 storm. That, of course, is the most dangerous type of hurricane that we have. We all know what Katrina had done to the state of Louisiana going back, years ago, how there was complete devastation to Louisiana. So I just want to say a prayer to all the people out there that are living in Louisiana that are going to be in the path of this storm, and just kind of wish you all the very best. And if you have a chance to evacuate your area, please go out and evacuate, find a place to go to, see if you can to, get out of the path of that storm, because it's going to be an extremely dangerous storm. So, hey, Walt, welcome to the show. Lisa Marie, welcome to the show. Hopefully you guys are doing well. I appreciate everybody that's coming in on this unexpected Sunday morning show. But, we have a lot of things going on in the world right now. And, it's certainly been a tough couple of weeks here in the United States of America. We've got Ida. We've got the servicemen that lost their lives in Kabul. And we have, again, the ongoing situation that's happening right now in Afghanistan. And for me, it really breaks my heart to see all of these people that are, right now fighting for their lives in that city. You've got people, from Afghanistan, you've got allies of the United States that have been basically left out to dry by our government, and they're being left out to dry to fend for themselves. And in some cases, there were lists given to the Taliban of where these people are living, where the Americans are living. And it breaks my heart to see the amount of people that have lost their lives, and the amount of people right now that still have their lives in peril and could end up losing their lives because of the way our government handled this pullout of the, war in Afghanistan. For me, I'm not an expert. I'm no expert on foreign policy. I'm no expert on, being in a war. I'm no expert in the military. But for me, I don't want to get overly critical in criticizing Biden. You all know how I feel about Joe Biden. I'm not a fan. I don't think he's a good president, and I think our government completely botched this pullout. I don't think it was all his fault. I think his advisors made some bad decisions. But for me, if I'm running the military, I mean, why wouldn't you increase the presence of your troops in Afghanistan for the period of a month or two? And as you increase the level of troops you have in that country, at that point, you get the Americans out that want to leave. You get the Afghani allies out that want to leave out of the country on airplanes, get them out, fly them to America, get them safe. I mean, right now we still have women and children and families who are in danger of being killed, who are in dangers of being hunted down, and nothing was done to get these people out. So if we increased our military up front and we had, again, got these Americans and these Afghanis out of the country before we pulled out our military, then we would not be in the situation that we're in right now, where you have people out there that are going to die and have died. So I don't understand why we went about this the way we did, but I really want to say prayers for all the Afghan people that are struggling right now, the American troops now that are being forced into a very difficult situation, and the Americans that are trapped right now in Afghanistan that have not been given a chance to truly escape by their government. So I don't understand why it went down the way it did. I would have liked to have seen greater planning on getting the people out of that country before we pulled our troops out. For me, I have no problem with getting out of Afghanistan. I mean, that was a war that happened after September 11th. I was alive. I remember that day very well. And we have September 11th coming up again very shortly. And it was awful what happened on September 11th, but we never should have been in Afghanistan in the first place. If we're all going to be honest, I mean, George Bush had bad intel. They shouldn't have been in that country. We spent 20 years in that country when we shouldn't have been there. And it was time to pull out, but we just did not pull out the right way. And the way this administration decided to leave, I mean, we gave them a date. We allowed them to plan. We pulled our military out before we had our people out of the country. And to me, that was just a huge, huge error, by our country. And, again, this administration, the Biden administration, has blood on their hands for what happened in Afghanistan. So I'm kind of wondering in the chat, if anyone has any thoughts on what happened in Afghanistan. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? BP, welcome to the show. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for stopping in on this unannounced Sunday morning show. So, that was one of the things I wanted to talk about today was Afghanistan. I wanted to talk about the danger of Hurricane Ida that's coming up the coast. And I heard kind of a scary story this morning, and this kind of, touches our family a little bit, not really directly, but my wife has someone that she works with whose daughter is out on the ocean right now. She's in the service, and apparently they were not allowed to come into port because of this hurricane. So she is now riding out this hurricane on the ocean in the Gulf Coast with a Category 5 storm coming into Louisiana. I mean, I can't imagine how scary that must be to be out on the ocean, regardless of how big your ship is that you're on. I mean, I saw the movie The Perfect Storm. That movie terrified me about being out in the ocean where you could have, 30, 40, 50-foot waves out there, maybe even bigger, that are tossing boats around, even giant ships. And that is going to be just absolutely terrifying to anyone that's stuck out in the ocean right now. So we do know someone that is in that situation, and I want to send prayers out to her family and just hope that everything goes well and they're able to get out. So, hey, I like that name. We got Vacuum coming in. We've got Big Sexy. We've got Chris Conway and Admin all entering the show. Thank you for coming in. If you're new here for the first time, please follow my show. I would appreciate it. Please share my live and make sure you come back often to the show. I'm going to be opening up the phone lines pretty soon to do a phone call. And I see the name Big Sexy. I love that name. I used to coach Little League Baseball. And on my Little League team, I had these two brothers that played on the team. And one was smaller and the other one was bigger. And they gave themselves the nickname of Big and Little Sexy. So here I am as a Little League coach, and you had all these fans coming to Little League games with little kids, and the fans were cheering for like Big Sexy and Little Sexy at these Little League games. And I remember after one of the games, I went up to the mother of Big and Little Sexy, and I told them, and I apologized to the parents, saying, listen, I've kind of talked to the team. I'm trying to stop the nicknames. I feel bad that people in town are, screaming for your sons and calling them Big and Little Sexy. She came back and told me it was absolutely hysterical. She loved it. So I was cool. And I'm actually looking right now up on my desk. You can't see where I broadcast my show from, but I broadcast from my office, and I've got a signed baseball from that team back in 2018 where we won the championship. And right on the sweet spot of the baseball, I see Little Sexy, number 7, right on the sweet spot. So let's see. So, I didn't realize that. So Big Sexy is Slightly's better half. I did not know that. Eric, thank you for clarifying. I follow then Big Sexy on Instagram, and I just saw their trip. It looks like they took a nice trip to Big Bear in California the same time I was at Sebago Lake up in Maine. So that looked like an amazing trip. And I got to give Big Sexy credit. Now, Big Sexy is very thin and obviously takes care of himself very well. Looks good, always dressed nice, obviously eats good food and takes care of himself. But the amount of food that you post, Big Sexy, on Instagram makes me hungry every time I see it. You post these meals that look absolutely amazing, and I see them every time I get on, and I'm always jealous saying, where are these restaurants that Big Sexy and Slightly are going to? And they look just absolutely amazing. So anyway, that's what's going on in my life right now. We had a great trip to Maine. My kids are going back to school this upcoming week. So Ethan and Brandon are going back on Tuesday to their public high school. My daughter Caitlin starts school on Wednesday at her virtual academy. And then my son Matt, this one's the heartbreaker. My oldest son Matt is leaving not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday. He is moving out. I can't tell you, number one, how proud I am of my son for being able to move out, to live on his own, to go to college. I mean, he was a guy with autism, Tourette's syndrome, ADHD that had a lot of different challenges. And it was a lot of work to get him to the point where he is right now. But as of next Tuesday, which I think is September 7th, maybe, he is moving out of our house and going to college. And I'll tell you, if there are any parents in here right now, or, even people who are thinking about moving out, this is going to be one of the hardest things I've had to deal with, I think, in my life, where, for me, where my wife worked in a very busy job, I always worked remotely out of the house. I was kind of the pseudo guy that was always home with the kids when my wife couldn't be here because she had to go to the office being a doctor. So for me, I spent a lot of time with my son, Matt, when he was little. He was my first son. I loved him so much. He was the cutest little guy on the face of the earth. And, I spent a ton of time with him when he was little. And to think now that we have progressed from that little baby boy that was diagnosed at the age of 3 with autism, and he's now going to college, and he's been in 3 movies. He wants to be an actor. He's got a job, and he's finally moving out. While I'm proud of him, I'm also heartbroken. I really am. And I don't even know if I'll be able to do a show on that day. I might try to do one, but honestly, I'll probably cry if I do, because it's going to be, I think, very emotional to have him move out. But we're so proud of him. But I'll tell you, if you're a parent, you get it out there. When your kids start moving out, it makes you realize that life's about to change. We've been parents now for 18 years, and every 2 years, we're going to lose a kid. We've got 4 kids. My daughter's going to be a junior, this year. In 2 years, she's going to be gone. Then it'll be my son, Ethan, then Brandon. And it's certainly going to be an adjustment for us as parents as we watch our kids move on out of the house and, into college. But, that's what being a parent is. It's about, having your kids move on, have them spread those wings, get out into the world and live their lives. So it's going to be hard, but, who knows? I may need some Podbean support from some of you guys as I go through it. Now, the one thing I don't agree with is my younger 2, man, they have to go back to school, and they did impose a mask mandate in the public schools again. So this is something, you all know my show. I'm not a fan of the mask mandates. I'm not a fan of mandates at all. Now, as I've talked about, I know there are people that come into my show that do not agree with the vaccinations, and that's okay. I believe it's a free country. I believe you should have the choice to choose whether or not you get a vaccine. My family, we were all vaccinated, and we decided to do that based on what we felt was best for us. If you're a person out there that has not gotten vaccinated, you come to my house anytime you want. You sit down, you have dinner with us. If we meet you out in public, I'll give you a hug just like everybody else. I believe in this country, we still have freedom of choice, and we should be allowed to make the decisions about our body. We hear that all the time when we hear about abortion, right? My body, my choice. How does that go out the window when you're talking about vaccines? How does that go out the window when you're talking about mask mandates, right? And that's one of the things we're going to deal with now with our youngest 2 kids, where they're going back to school. And at least for the first month of school, they're going to have to mask up again. And there was a lot of meetings about it here in the Massachusetts area. The Department of Education mandated it, so the schools are going along with the mandate, where possibly it could end by October 1st. But I mean, who are we kidding? I don't think it's going to end by October 1st, because by October 1st, the flu is going to be prevalent. There's going to be another variant of COVID. There's no way that's going to end. So I think we're going to see again our kids with masks on through this entire school year. And I feel bad. I feel bad for the kids. I mean, I truly don't believe that the masks make a significant difference in the spread of COVID. And I think it's unfortunate that schools and government entities are still being allowed to mandate our children and mandate us to wear these masks when I don't believe that they help. So Cummings is culture. I was talking to him a little bit earlier. And Eric and Cummings, if you guys want to call in, or anybody want to call in now, I can only be on until maybe 12 o'clock because I got to get my kid to football. We have a football game today. But Cummings, we were talking via text about the hurricane this morning, and I wanted to maybe chat about that a little bit. And Eric, if you're still here, if you want to call in, I'd love to have you come in and join me and just talk a little bit. Now, Eric, are you concerned at all about the hurricane heading towards Georgia? I'm not sure if that is in fact the case. But Eric, welcome to the show. How are you this morning?
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. I finally hit the buttons before you came on, so I didn't make the boomer move this morning of not hitting the buttons properly.
Well, I think looking outside, it's I know it's a little cloudy for me this morning. I don't know if I know with like the cone of uncertainty, because they measure it from the eye. It's like once it gets a little further inland, they have it turning back to the right. Hopefully, people in the path of this storm are managing to remain safe, or have gotten to a safe spot. And I know today is the anniversary of Katrina.
Right. Now, I'm looking at a map right now of Georgia. I put it up on my phone. Now, I'm seeing Atlanta. Where are you in Georgia, Eric? Like, where about? Are you like south of Atlanta? Are you way down south?
I'm east of Atlanta.
So you're east. So you're more towards the border of like South Carolina then?
I am, about halfway between Atlanta and Athens.
Okay, I see where that is then. I'm looking at a map right now. So has there been any
Mike has arrived?
Was there been any talk of this heading your way and potentially affecting your area? Because, I mean, this is turning out to be a monster. It's going to be a Category 5 storm, it looks like, by the time it makes landfall, and that's terrifying. Hey, Mike, how you doing? So is it going to go in your direction?
Well, I guess there's no telling what this storm could do, and but I know once the eye is over land, it's going to start to go back down, in categories back to like tropical storm, tropical depression.
Right. Well, I'm looking at a map right now. I mean, if it hits again the New Orleans area, the one person I worry about a lot is Crazy Kane, because I know that he is going to be right in the path of this thing. So hopefully he and his family are going to be safe. Mm-hmm. But I'm looking also at the map.
But I know Jeremy's right next door in Alabama. I know that.
That's what I was just looking at, because I'm more familiar with the Northeast on the map. So I'm looking at the map right now, and this could end up going right in the direction of Jeremy. So Jeremy just joined us. Jeremy, what are they saying in Alabama right now? Are you concerned the storm is going to hit you with full authority, or are they hoping it's going to die down a little bit before it gets to you?
We normally get tropical depressions, and up here, people think, oh, you live in North Alabama, you don't have to deal with the hurricanes, you just have to deal with the tornado. No, we deal with the hurricanes too.
Right.
So it's they're saying it could be a Category 1. Some people are saying that if it holds intensity to 5, if it holds intensity and it stays a 5 when it hits Louisiana today and stays and degrades to a 4, but I think they said before it gets to Baton Rouge. Wow. They said that's going to be bad for us, because they said it could be a Category 2 way up into Mississippi and in Alabama. So I don't know.
Yeah, because now I'm looking again at that map. Now I see Birmingham. Are you close to Birmingham? I remember you told me once where about you were, but where are you in relation to like Birmingham?
No, I'm in the northwest quarter. If you look like where the eye of the storm when it turns,
yeah,
it's right there. Like that's where I live.
Okay, so you're right on the border of like Tennessee in that area, and you're not too far from where they show Memphis on the map, like kind of in that area.
I'm an hour away from everything.
Oh, you are? Okay. All right.
I'm an hour away from Tupelo. I'm an hour away from Memphis. I'm an hour away from Huntsville. I'm an hour away from Birmingham.
Well, this is scary stuff, man. When you see these type of hurricanes, I mean, I'm sure you all remember what happened with Katrina. I mean, Katrina was an absolute just catastrophe for Louisiana. And again, when I looked at Louisiana after the fact, I've only been to New Orleans once, in Louisiana one time in my life. I had a great time there. But when you look at how New Orleans is, I mean, in Louisiana, I mean, literally the city is in like a bowl. So if you have any type of storm surge, I mean, you're going to have flooding in that area just because there's really no other place for the water to go, but really into the land area. But it worries me when you see a storm of this size, because again, there are going to be people that can get out. There are going to be people that can get to shelters, but there are going to be people out on the street that just have nowhere to go. And that does really worry me about, people in New Orleans being able to get the help that they need and then moving up the coast into, Mississippi and Alabama, maybe into Georgia. I know that they're saying this is going to hit us up here in New England by Thursday, but at that point, it's going to be a lot of wind and a lot of rain. It's not going to be any danger, to any of us. So, just prayers to all of you that are in the South right now. I mean, I love a lot of you guys, and I know hopefully it looks like for Alabama and Georgia, this isn't going to be something that's, life-threatening most likely. But I do worry about people like Crazy Kane and my friends in Louisiana. What are they saying about the effect this might have on Louisiana right now? And then Mike's calling in also, potentially Florida. So,
hey, John.
How you doing, bud?
Good. Hey, Eric. Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, Mike.
Now, Mike, what are they saying about the Gulf Coast? Is there any chance this could head further east and potentially hit, the Tampa area where you are?
No, see, I don't know. The thing is about, I guess, Floridians, or maybe just me, we're all kind of meteorologists. We kind of like watch and listen to all the meteorologists and how they describe the storms and why they do what they do and stuff. It's no, the storm is too strong. It's its core is compact, and it's and when it's that strong, the high pressure, like where it is off the coast of the Atlantic, has more influence on it than it would if it was a weaker storm. Okay. So it has it's pretty much impossible for it to go any more further right. So it's pretty much locked in place. So.
Well, that's a good thing. I mean, that's a good thing for Florida.
Yeah.
As you know, I think I talked about it in early July. My father-in-law passed away, back in July, and he had a place in Fort Myers in a park. I mean, just kind of like a double wide or whatever it was, nothing fantastic. But we now have that as part of our family, and my wife owns it with her two brothers. And if any type of hurricane hits that area, I mean, it's not a huge structure. We always worry about that being damaged, and obviously some of the people that we've gotten to know that lived in that park with my father-in-law, we always worry about them as well. But I'm glad to see it's not going to affect, hopefully, our friends in Florida. But has anyone heard from Crazy Kane? I mean, I wonder if he's been vocal with anybody.
No, actually.
Been able to move,
I wonder if he evacuated. That's what I mean, because from what I'm seeing down, like our weathermen and stuff, we literally, Mike may have heard of him before, but James Spann, he was the first nationally known. He became popular nationally. They talked about him nationally because he became the first weatherman to come out and say that the climate change was full of, like, it's baloney.
Right.
And he's been watching it, and I've been watching his live streams and stuff, and he was like, man, if you thought Katrina was bad, Katrina was a Category 3. He was like, this is going to be Category 5 when it makes landfall.
Now, I thought Katrina, when it hit New Orleans or Louisiana, wasn't it Category 5 when it hit, or was it a 3?
No, it was a 3.
Holy shit, I thought it was a 5.
What, Katrina?
Yeah,
it was a 3. I always thought it was a 5 too, but it was a Category 3.
Unbelievable. I'll have to look that up. I trust you, but for whatever reason, maybe it had died down to a 3. Or maybe it had been a 5 and maybe it died down to a 3 before it hit land. I remember it being a 5 at one point. So I'm sure you're right. I just have to, I guess, go back and read so I can educate myself.
No, just the way you said that. Like, I don't think you're lying, Cummings, but let me go check.
Well, Cummings, you're probably full of shit, but I'm going to go look at Hey, man, since I have you on the phone, I want to talk to you about this also. We're talking about Katrina, we're talking about Afghanistan, we're talking about my fucking kids having to wear masks again, which pisses me off.
Oh,
but really, I mean, for those of you that don't love sports, bear with us for a second, because I got my Alabama boy here on the phone, and I'm up in New England. So what do you think? Is Mac Jones going to be behind center to start the season for the Patriots, or is it going to be Cam Newton? What do you think?
He should be.
I think he should be.
He should be. He should be the starter because, I mean, what do you gain from having Cam out there? You don't gain anything.
And Cam
has been gone in 2 years.
You know what I'm tired of, man? I've grown up in the Northeast my whole life. I've been up here, back in the 70s and 80s. Was there more racism up here? Probably. I grew up in New Hampshire, one of the whitest states in the country. We didn't have too many. I think I knew like one African-American kid growing up until I went to high school in Massachusetts. But I keep hearing people say that people in New England are racist because we want Mac Jones to play and not Cam Newton to play. For me, it has nothing to do with race. And I know I've said this before. I love Cam Newton. Cam Newton honestly seems like the type of guy you'd want to hang out with. He seems like a great guy. I would love nothing more than to have Cam Newton come up here and be a great quarterback. When he was available after the Patriots lost Tom Brady or fucking gave him away to Tampa Bay, I was the first person that said, go out and Cam Newton. Maybe Belichick can fix him. Maybe Belichick can get him back on track. I watched him play last year. Going into the last game of the season, he had thrown 5 touchdown passes. He couldn't throw. He was throwing the ball at people's feet. Maybe it was poor receivers. I don't know. But you cannot be an NFL quarterback and throw 5 touchdown passes going into the last game of the year. Mac Jones is our great new hope. We're hoping he'll be the next Brady. And, Cam Newton last year showed us nothing. It has nothing to do with the color of his skin. I don't care if he's green. I want a guy that can win football games. And if that's Cam Newton, it should be
race
him.
an issue now?
Yeah, race that. Yeah. They made it an issue.
Yep.
Who the hell is they?
Oh.
So I want to know, who's they?
That's a good question.
Man, these people need to stop this bullshit.
Who is they coming? You would mention it to me in a text, and I've heard a little bit about it also. It's just, that the PC police, I think they're out there always looking to make something into race. It has nothing to do with race.
They need to get the hell out of this country.
It's a lot of the sportscasters who are, but I don't understand this because a lot of the Patriots greats. You remember? John, I know you do. When Moss was up there,
loved him. I loved Randy Moss.
Randy Moss was on ESPN the other day, and he said, "Do you not understand?" When one of Max Kellerman was the one that was bringing race into it,
right.
And he goes, "Do you not understand that you have Tom Brady 2.0?" Right. He was like, "This kid is Tom Brady 2.0." He was like, "I can't believe that I couldn't believe that San Francisco let him by. I couldn't believe that Denver passed on him." And he was like, he's like, "I went and watched this kid in practices with the Giants," and he was like, he shredded them.
Well, that's the thing. I was talking to you about it all season because up here in New England, we don't watch a lot of college football because we have Boston College. And unless you went to BC, they're a bunch of elite assholes for the most part of BC. So unless you went there, you're not really a BC fan. And then we have no other really big Division I program. So we follow professional sports up here more than college in general. So you were telling me about Mac Jones all season. And as I saw him fall in the draft, as I started to realize it was a chance for us to get this guy because I started watching highlight films of him and watched a couple of Alabama games. I'm like, boy, this guy is good. For me, I'd love to see Cam Newton be the next Tom Brady, but he isn't. He isn't, period. If you want to keep him, make him a tight end, make him a receiver. He's got speed. He can hit, whatever, maybe change his position if he's able to do that. But we're looking for a guy like Mac Jones to be that next Tom Brady, to be the future of New England, and Cam Newton hasn't shown us he can do it. It's not about race. That just ticked me off when that stuff started.
I'm sorry.
Well, go ahead.
Eric, am I the only one that feels like a dishwasher having a conversation with NASA scientists? I wish I paid attention to sports. I don't. I'm like, what the hell are they talking about?
For the non-sports people, bear with us. We're not going to stay on sports.
I feel bad. I'm like, shit.
No, but yeah. Well, again, I've never been ever in my life called a NASA scientist. So thank you for that. My wife would consider me to be
rocket engineer. A custodian? Oh, God.
That's a first for me. I've never been called that before. But thank you. I appreciate the compliment. Oh, man. So I don't know. So what are you guys doing? So, we're at the end of summer. I wanted to hear from you. I got my man Eric. I got Cummings. I got Mike on the phone. Where here at the end of summer, we see the Delta variant happening again. We see masks coming back. When is this going to end? Do you think we're going to have mask mandates all winter?
Yep.
Do you think this is going to go away? What do you all see happening this upcoming winter? I'm just curious how you feel. Because they tell us here in Massachusetts that in the schools, Crazy Kane, hold on, I want to talk to you. So, Kane, if you get a chance, call in. I want to talk to you about the hurricane. So call in and be patient if you can. I want to chat with you a little bit. We were just talking about you a little while ago. But anyway, do you think the mask mandates are going to end? They're telling us here in Massachusetts as of October 1st, the schools might remove the mask mandates. I can't see that happening. What do you guys think?
I think they'll end if you have strong leaders in position. If you have leaders that are not, scared to, speak for the people. If they're brave, yes, they'll end. If they're not, then no.
I think they work.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just being honest. I think it's working here because I'm seeing how it's working here. Our county school system is shut down, and our county school system had no mask mandate whatsoever. And our school system is the only school system within 30 to 50 miles that imposed a mask mandate.
Okay.
And it's worked. We've only had, I think we've got a 1% positivity rate, and all of those infections are occurring outside of school. They're not they're not getting the virus inside the school system, and so our school's still open. I mean, they've got the mask mandate, but the school's still
you
open.
think the masks are working? You think they're actually being effective?
Yeah, they're being effective here. Okay. I mean, I have to be. I'm not going to lie.
No, again, if I'm wrong, my wife tells me I'm wrong every day, but I'm kind of used to that. It's been my whole life because I usually am wrong. For any man that's married out there, you get that, right? You're always wrong. But
yes, you're always yes, dear.
I'm looking at this the right way. Maybe my kids should be wearing masks, and maybe I should too. Maybe I'm seeing this the wrong way. So if you guys feel that way, oh no, here she is. Come over here for a second. Come over here. You can't tuck your head in and leave. Get over here. All right, here she is, Dr. Cheryl DeVito. Come on. Go ahead. Tell them. What do you think? Am I seeing it the wrong way about the mask, or do you believe that people should be wearing masks? Come on in. Come closer.
Well, I think that, yes, until we have this Delta variant under control, that we all need to do our duty as people of society to keep others safe. And there are our little kids right now cannot be vaccinated, anybody under 12. And even though the death rate of the children has been much lower, it's also because we took them out of school and we have made them wear a mask since the beginning of this pandemic. Now we're sending them back to school. And as we've seen in Florida, we're having an increased rate of death in children. We had 24 last week. One is too many for me. So if I can do my job and put on a mask and protect our young children, I will.
All right, hold on one sec here. Now I took the headphones off, so I can't hear. I gave them to my wife really quickly. We have a big high production show here where we only have one set of headphones. But just keep in mind now, as you're making your decisions, you hear my wife, doctor, blah, 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 family practice, blah, 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 advanced degree. Now, with me, if you're looking to get the real truth, you're talking to a guy that got his communications degree from college, that drank his ass through college, that played football, and didn't study medicine at all. So I guess you have to decide. I'm saying no masks. My wife, who's the doctor, is saying masks. So you guys can decide which way you want to go. So, I mean, obviously the correct choice is to listen to me and go along with me. Wouldn't you guys all agree?
I think one thing.
Yeah, so this is your chance to shit on me.
I think one thing I would really point out, like what, regardless of like the mask mandate or debate, what have you, and and I think another thing I would like to stress is to determine whether or not a patient is an ideal candidate to get this shot or vaccine. I would be stressing that people need to be consulting with their doctors and not be relying on unlicensed medical practitioners like celebrities, media, and political pundits on TV and elected officials to be lecturing you on whether or not to get a vaccine, because relying on an unlicensed professional is very dangerous, and I'm sure Dr. Cheryl would agree with that sentiment, that because she is licensed to do this kind of work, and she does not need to be put out of business because of unlicensed professionals.
Hey, hold on one second, really quickly. I can't believe I found this. I don't know what the odds were of this, but I just got a clip of me in college talking about something similar. So hold on one second. Let me play this clip really quickly and tell me what you guys think after you hear it. Oh, wait a minute. That was me after a party in college. I'm sorry. So that was pretty much the only clip I have. You're in Vermont. Now, my wife is a New Hampshire girl, so you're calling her Hitler? I literally married Hitler. She is short. She's maybe about the same height as Adolf, but calling you Hitler, I don't know. What do you think, Cheryl? You were just called Hitler by one of our Vermont friends.
I don't think I would go that far as to say I'm Hitler, but mask in vaccines, maybe I am the Hitler of masks and vaccines.
Hey, John, I got a good question.
No doubt about it. Now, the thing that's really tough is, when my wife and I get personal, she makes me wear a mask. I'm not sure why that happens. I figured the mask would come off in that scenario, but that's why I'm holding out at this point. So, I don't want to wear the mask during.
John, I guarantee you.
I know what he's doing when he's not with me.
Yeah.
All right, goodbye. Get out of here.
Bye.
All right.
Hopefully she heard what I said just a short time ago.
What'd you say? Hold on. Go ahead. What'd you say?
She's
She's still here.
I think with the whole vaccine shot thing, that to determine whether patients are an ideal candidate, it is important that people consult with their doctors and not be relying on unlicensed medical practitioners to lecture them on getting it. Because since Dr. Cheryl is licensed to do this,
yep.
She could talk with the patients one-on-one to determine their candidacy.
No, actually, Dr. Cheryl, when you were talking, was nodding her head yes. She agreed with a lot of what you said. Now, one more question before you leave, Cheryl. Doss is saying, what are your thoughts on the negative effects on masks? Like, I assume not being able to breathe, whatever. So, come on, you got to get close.
So, obviously there are some negative effects, and we are seeing, especially in kids, that they're not building up the immunities that they should be building, but they're also not dying, which I think is important, obviously. So, I think the masks are uncomfortable, but they don't really harm you.
How about socially?
Socially, I wonder what's going to happen to our kids not being able to read facial expressions, because that's a huge part of social development. But we're not wearing the masks all the time. We're wearing the masks out in public in indoor spaces. I'm not saying that you have to wear it all the time if you're out, in your backyard or you're taking a walk. We don't wear them when we go to baseball games. We sit apart from people. We do the social distancing, and we're outside. And I don't.
We didn't do the social distancing. That's because we're antisocial. That doesn't have to do with COVID.
Really true.
That's kind of what it is. We're antisocial, and we generally hate people. So that's kind of why we do that, honestly, because people are basically assholes, except for all the people in here. In my podcast, well, Doss is an asshole, but everyone else is pretty good. Oh, look at this. I am not a terrorist. Enter the live studio. Welcome to the studio. So, hey, listen, we just had Dr. Cheryl on briefly, and I'm going to get a quick interview with Crazy Kane, and you know what happens when he comes in. So let me see if we can find the right sound here. Oh, fuck, wrong one. Here we go. There it is. Crazy Kane is in the house. So, Crazy Kane, welcome to the show. I'm really glad you called in, because earlier we were worried about you. You're in Louisiana. You're in the path of this storm, and you are, in harm's way. So I'm just kind of wondering what you're doing as this Category 5 storm is approaching you. Are you guys evacuating, or are you just
not a 5.
Down? What's that?
It's not a Category 5. It is a strong Category 4. The winds would have to be at 160 for it to be a Category 5.
I think you're worried about it turning 50. Into a Category 5, though, before it hits. So are you guys moving, or are you just staying home?
If it slows down, it will.
Yeah.
It's right on the mouth of the river where I used to live. It's getting decimated as we speak. At 2:00 this morning, they airlifted a bunch of officials from Grand Isle and their response teams, because the storm surge was coming and it was not going to be good.
No, it's scary because, it's going to be a big storm. And I remember what happened during Katrina, and you were the first person I thought of. So, it's scary. So are you concerned? Are you worried about, your family, or what are you guys doing to prepare?
I have family that lives down in the New Orleans area, and they can't quite leave because they're part of the first responder crew.
Right.
That's nurses, doctors, law enforcement. So they don't really have a choice. They can't really go anywhere.
Now, Doss,
other family members.
Did you see Doss's advice, Kane? Doss said the safest place to hide is up in the top of a tree. So you might want to think about that for the hurricane, just to be safe and get up into the top of a tree.
He's
I
so
can guarantee
bullshit.
you that is not safe. I've seen what happens to trees. I've seen them uprooted.
They fall down.
And I've seen them uprooted and freaking thrown like football fields away. No shit.
End time, welcome. No, it's crazy shit, man. I mean, this hurricane's going to be a bigger one. I'm hoping it's not as bad as they say. You know, I mean, I'm really afraid.
Oh, they've told us this
Louisiana.
is going to be worse than Katrina.
Holy shit! Did they really? So they're saying that to you right now because I haven't watched the news the last couple of days. So you need to be careful, man. Make sure you do whatever you have to do to be safe. You know,
adopted family where I live now, they don't quite understand why me and my mom are always worried about these hurricanes. Here's one reason why. Today makes 16 years since Katrina hit.
wow.
This makes 16 years since my family and I moved to where we live now at the Crazy Kane Asylum. We had a football jamboree that Friday. It was a suggested evacuation Saturday, and then it was mandatory. I remember the people going on the news saying that if you stayed, to take a permanent black marker, write your social security number on your arm so we can identify you.
Lovely. Jesus Christ.
Because they can't force people to leave. And some people are diehards at staying, but
yeah, I'll tell you.
It is what it is. We're swamp rats.
I think I'd get
We'll
the hell out.
survive.
Yeah, I'd get the hell out. I mean, that would scare the shit out of me, a storm that big. But I don't blame you. You don't want to leave your property. I mean, you're worried about it being damaged, whatever. You want to stay there. But for me, man, 185-mile-an-hour winds, I'm gone. I wouldn't want to risk that. But, man, I'll tell you, you know, I think I can speak for everybody in the room except for Doss, that we're all praying for you. We all care about you, and hopefully you're going to be okay and your family's going to be okay. So I will pray for your family tonight and for you, and hopefully everything's going to be okay.
We'll have to worry about where I live now, where the asylum is now, is the winds.
The winds.
And they say we're going to get tropical winds, but it's still moving northwest at like 12 miles per hour. So the more west it goes, the eye is going to hit Baton Rouge. And that's like, I don't know, like 20 miles from my house. And yeah.
That's scary. Well, hang in there.
We can still get those hurricane force winds.
Anybody else want to say anything to Crazy Kane? Anybody up on the panel want to wish him a good luck through this thing? It's going to be.
Yeah. How far away are you from the Baton Rouge area?
About 60 miles.
To the west, southwest, north?
West.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah, because the core of the hurricane force winds, I think, extend out to 15 miles from the center. So within 15 miles of where it makes landfall, it's going to have hurricane force winds.
Or 5, that's much further.
I would imagine you might be halfway between Baton Rouge and Lafayette, you know, give or take.
I live above Lafayette and south of Baton Rouge.
What?
Yeah.
Do you have mandatory evacuations in your area for the storm, or are you just
not our area?
Are you?
We live above I-10. We're above.
What's
sea
your
level.
elevation? Okay, are you at sea level?
No, we're above sea level. Everybody
Okay.
south of I-10 is below sea level.
Okay, so you're not in
especially in the
a flood
Mississippi
zone or a
Delta.
storm surge?
We won't have to worry about storm surge. Lafayette.
Okay, that's the worst thing in a hurricane. You think the winds are the worst?
Places.
Storm surge does the most damage than the wind does. Yeah. Damn.
I have to make a comment really quick.
Monsters can cause tornadoes, so.
Let me interrupt for a second, Crazy Kane. I have to draw attention to this. Elgato, finally, I mean, I've been waiting for this for many, many years. We've been friends for a while. And Elgato finally just told me that he loves me. And I've been waiting to hear those words from his mouth. I've kind of worried that he's been using me for these years. So I just told him.
I thought he got laid.
I know this might make some of you feel uncomfortable in the chat, but I did just tell him I want to make love to him. And he asked me if I was going to take Cialis. And I told him specifically for him, I'm going to take 2 pills because I'm 53. It doesn't stand up like it used to. So I'm going to take 2 pills, and that motherfucker is going to be like a flagpole for about 6 hours. So you get your ass
And
over
he's going to do it dry, too.
God. Damn straight, baby. You're going to get all of these 3 inches like you've never experienced before. Let me tell you that. That's all I can say. So, oh, man. Well, listen, unfortunately, I'm going to have to wrap this up. My son's got a football game. I wanted to get on for a while this morning and just chat. And I'm hopefully going to do a few shows this week. We'll see how it goes. But
look forward to you doing that.
Yeah.
I know we didn't really get to go into too much detail about the Afghanistan blunder, but I'm sure we'll talk about it more this week.
You know what? I get a few more minutes now. I don't have to really get off. My hard end time is about 12. So if you want to talk a little bit about Afghanistan right now, I mean, just what I talked about earlier is my first thing I said at the beginning of the show is I want to send prayers out to the Marines that lost their lives.
Oh, yeah.
We lost a young woman
Very
in
unfortunate.
Massachusetts here, and she was from the city I went to high school in. So young woman, beautiful young woman, lost her life. So prayers to the Marines. And I'm not going to be specific in bashing the president. You all know how I feel about him. I just don't understand why we didn't increase our military presence, get the Americans out, get the Afghans that wanted to leave out, and then remove our soldiers at that point instead of doing it the way we did. I mean, again, I know Elgato, you're more left. I mean, he fucked this one up. And, it's unfortunate now we're seeing all these people die because of it. And for me, I'm not angry. It breaks my heart to see these people that are dying and trying to escape. I mean, it's a travesty. So I'm sure Eric, Cummings, Mike, Crazy, you might all have feelings. Go ahead, Rip. I'd like to hear all your opinions on Afghanistan. Why don't we start with Eric? Go ahead.
Well, like I said, it's very unfortunate that this even happened in the first place. But we know that I know I know the election and other topics have been like recurring topics here on the show. That if Trump was still in the White House, I do not believe that this pullout would have been this bad. But
what I don't understand is,
but we know that. But there's plenty of blame to go around.
Where are the people
exactly
advising him? Because Biden, I mean, I think he probably has, and I'm not saying this to be an asshole, he probably has dementia a little bit. His decision making isn't always there. Where the fuck are the advisors, the military experts that probably should have had this plan done the right way? Go ahead, Eric. I needed to say that.
Well, I think, like you said, I think there's plenty of blame to go around because I mean, who's like really calling the shots in Washington? Who's really calling the shots at the Pentagon? Do people have too many conflicts of interest?
I mean,
and I remember Jeremy bringing this up on Slightly Show on Friday night. Where we've talked about Biden having cognitive issues, and I think a good question is did Biden even want to be president in the first place? Are we witnessing the worst kind of elder abuse on display?
I go way back as far as presidents go. And I, believe it or not, I remember back as far as like Jimmy Carter and Gerald Ford. That's how fucking old I am. But honestly, Jimmy Carter was a horrible president, just a terrible president. We're seeing a lot of what we're seeing right now when Jimmy Carter was president. I think Biden may go down as one of the worst presidents in history. I know people on the left feel that Trump was, and I'm not going to argue that point. But for me, when you look at what's happening right now with Afghanistan, with the border crisis, all these things that are going on, we've got a president that's in cognitive decline. And the problem is we don't have a really solid vice president to fall back on. I don't think Kamala, Camel Toe, whatever we call her, is going to be any better than Biden. So, I think we're in a tough spot right now. We got another 3.5 years of this shit unless something crazy happens. So, Cummings, what do you feel about what happened in Afghanistan? I'd like to hear your opinion. And, who's at fault for this mess that we're in right now? Is it Biden or is it the military advisors or both?
It's a combination of them all. Biden's going to get the blame, but I made a prediction earlier today, and it's not even really a prediction. Biden will resign within the next 2 weeks.
You think so?
Yes, and it will not be because of Afghanistan. It will be because of the poor government response to the hurricane at the Gulf Coast. They're going to mishandle the hurricane. There is going to be Katrina 2.0. There's going to be, and you know how Kanye West said George Bush doesn't care about black people. You'll have celebrities that'll turn on him and say Joe Biden doesn't care about black people. Joe Biden doesn't care about people. He's incompetent. I can't tell you how many people have they've called me a racist Republican for the past 5 years.
I know, me too. And I'm the
And they've apologized
that's the
to
last
me.
thing in the world that's the truth of me. You know, I'm not at all. But because you're a Republican, you're a racist. It's just such a stupid jump to make.
Yeah, and they've apologized to me, and they were like, "Hey, you know, you knew what you were talking about."
Did you see Elgato, what he just said? He said he's going to take you on that bet that Biden is not going to resign in 2 weeks. And if he loses, he's going to do a 10-minute show on you kissing your ass. So I always wanted to make sure you saw that in case it happens.
No, listen, I'm telling you, they need a reason to get him out. They need, even if it's invoking the 25th Amendment and his incompetence, they're going to blame it solely on him of what happened in Afghanistan. They already have, and now they're going to blame it solely on him what happened with the hurricane. So
you could be right.
Well, and I got a Hugh Grant Jay Leno piece on YouTube. What is that, Jay Leno, you have to say to Joe Biden?
What the hell were you thinking?
Yep.
Hey, John, before I run, I got to tell you one more thing.
Go ahead.
Crazy Kane, I hope you stay safe, brother. And Alabama, I talked to some boosters the other day. Alabama may have the highest vaccination rate in the country within the next month.
That's
or
amazing.
2 months.
You guys were really low for a while,
you know
right?
why?
Why?
You know why? We're the lowest state for vaccination right now, but we'll be the highest state because now the University of Alabama and Auburn University is talking about mandating vaccines to get into Bryant Denny and to get into Jordan Hare.
Right. That'll be huge because those colleges are huge and they'll drastically change the demographics and the numbers. That's amazing. Yeah. Wow. All right, buddy, I'm glad you called in. Mike, let me go to you real quick, if I could. So what do you think about Afghanistan? I know you were a political guy also. I mean, what are your feelings on what happened and, whose fault is it?
Yeah, I guess I never really openly was a political guy, but, I guess
you are now.
It's different. Yeah, I am now. Yeah. I think it's just a failure on the decision makers, the ones, that are advising Biden. Yes, absolutely. They gave him advice and, I don't think he makes the decisions, to be honest. I mean, just to be real, I think it's them doing it and he's just the image, but I don't know. I think it's a big failure, and I think the line has been drawn. I think it just this is that point where it just got serious, where people were like, this really got serious, especially when our, Marines and, died over there because of this result. And it just got really serious. The room got quiet kind of thing. It's
awful.
All right, this is getting real. Yeah.
But, and I think ultimately at the end of the day, Biden used the famous President Harry Truman line of the buck stops here. So, and Biden's got to live with this.
Right. Well, the other thing too, I don't know if anything's going to come of this or not, but I keep seeing that, the Arizona audit's going to be coming out, and we'll see how legitimate that is or not. It might be worthwhile reading. It might be a complete partisan, report full of bullshit. Who knows? But if you have Afghanistan, you have a failing with the hurricane coming up, and then you have the Arizona audit report show anything that's legitimately shows that there was cheating in the election. I don't know how this this administration is going to survive. I mean, you'll have Biden, and if there was cheating and that does overturn the Electoral College, which I don't think is going to happen, but if that was to happen, then, I mean, again, you're going to probably have this administration thrown out. But even if that doesn't happen, and if Biden is removed, I mean, who honestly here has confidence that Harris is going to be a good president? And I'm not saying this because she's a woman. I mean, I think that, I want her to do well. I don't want our country to fail, but I don't think.
Damned if we do, damned if we do, damned if we don't.
I don't think she's a great alternative. I mean, maybe she is, and I'm not seeing it. I hope that she is going to be, decent, because even if Biden doesn't resign by the end of his first year, I mean, I can't see him making 4 years in the mental state that he is right now. I would say at some point he is probably going to either step down or be removed from office because of his cognitive decline. And at that point, you will have Harris as our president. And I don't know. I don't see it. I guess.
God help us.
Yeah, that's how I feel. What do you think, Eric or Kane?
Well, this could be an opportunity for Republicans to get their act together if they want to win back the House in 2022 and maybe even win back the Senate. But it is still unknown at this time whether Donald Trump would come back in 2024. But that's just one of those wait and see. And then
I mean, by the time
that is true. But
he'll be 77 years old? He'll be Biden's age.
Yeah, but and I think another thing, some people may agree or disagree that what made Trump so unique, whether you love the guy or hated him, is when he was president, he was beholden to nobody, and I don't know if you knew this or not, but according to Judge Judy, she probably endorsed Michael Bloomberg for president, last year, because much like Donald Trump, Michael Bloomberg is beholden to nobody either.
Now, let me ask you this question. You mentioned Judge Judy. Am I the only one who Judge Judy kind of turns me on? I mean, she kind of gets me warm. I've had this fantasy where I want to bang Judge Judy. I'm not sure where I think.
Okay, it's not just me. Yes, I am there with you. Oddly enough, yes.
Maybe it's the authority. I don't know.
She's strict. She's it's the authority in her. Like, all right, bend over, asshole, or something. I don't know.
You get down and get this shit done now.
Well,
right now.
Well, I hated to see her Judge Judy show go, but I think she's going to be on the Peacock streaming network later this year or in the new year, called Judy Justice.
Yeah, how much is she worth? Like $500 million or something?
There's really no telling, but I heard a story from a friend, who says whenever she would negotiate her contract renewals, she would do it without an agent, and the show producers would slide an envelope across the table with the contract in it. She would open it up and read over it, and she would, make changes with an ink pen, put it back in the envelope, slide it back, and she would say, "This is non-negotiable."
That's awesome. I love that.
And that Judge Judy, she is one tough cookie.
That Cummings said $440 million she's worth. So hey, you can't be wrong. Oh, was that me?
That was Kane. I don't know if Kane wants to jump in.
All right, yeah. What's up?
No, that was a weather alert. That is a note that one of the first squall lines from the hurricane might be approaching.
Oh, Jesus. No, I mean it when I say it, Kane. I am worried about you and your family. I care about you. You're a good friend of our show.
If anybody would like to try to keep up with me off of Podbean, go to the dark parts of the bayou on Discord. I will be giving weather updates by the hour, as they say.
And if they have you on Instagram, you'll keep in touch with them there as well.
Yeah, please text us. If you have like Eric's number,
I say
text us and let us know that you're okay.
Discord, right? Because I don't know how the reception's gonna be. And I don't have much trouble with stuff like I do on Insty. Insty's been giving me some trouble, so I've been more Discord with updates and everything.
All right. Well, listen, we're all thinking.
I'm going to have to kill my cousin's dog.
I'm going to give you John DeVito's email in the chat, Kane. That way you can keep in touch with him that way if you can.
Let me know. And I'll give you my cell. Send me an email. I'll give you my cell phone.
I'll drop a walkie-talkie app for y'all. That it's kind of like Zoom or GrandPad.
Okay. Hey, remember, I'm a Gen Xer.
Y'all can download that app. Right.
I'm an old bastard there. I'm every time I get one of these new things, it takes me like a half an hour to figure it out. So bear with me being an old guy.
This app provides voice and video. So that's good. It's one of the new things they're doing for storms like this. So
hey, look at that picture of BP49. Is he a handsome man or what?
Oh, yeah.
What a stud. I mean, I had a comment. He liked my show, and I'm looking down, I see that picture. And as I've said many times, if I were a gay man, you'd be someone I'd ask out for dinner, just so you know. All right? So hopefully that doesn't offend you. I'm not a gay man, but it is what it is. All right, so Kane left us. Guys, take care. I've got to go, unfortunately. I'm having a really good time, but I'm past my hard time of leaving to a football game. Eric, if you could, run off some of the shows, and I'm going to wrap up this.
Well, I know as we're wrapping up the weekend, I know the Art of Floundering podcast is on, as well as Milk Dog should be going live soon if he ain't already on. And be on lookout later for other Podbean friends, be it like Dude Sean or hopefully Laura might fire up Communication Station or Pink Squirrel fire up her podcast. Then all next week, be on lookout for the Ralph William podcast, the Old Man's podcast with Dina, Joe, and Eric, and be on lookout for John should he decide to do some shows, as well as Cummings' Culture. And the Tuesday, Mike Tampa Bay and Dina Joe have the latest episode in the Boundaries series. And also be on lookout for Chuck and Billy's Not Your Cup of Tea and the Beans and Weenie show and the Slightly Serious show and Trice Talk and a few more awesome friends. Slacker 82 Alpha podcast, The Swap Doesn't Lie, Freedom Warrior, and you know who else am I missing? But Elgato's Homeboy 88 podcast. Don't want to forget about him, and don't want to forget about Brian and Rebecca from Planet ADHD. Very good friends. And then Tuttles and Cubella's Talk Hard podcast on Tuesday night. Unless they're on at a special time this week.
Elgato, I got something for you. Hold on. I'm almost done. Here we go. All right, buddy. There we go. Thanks, Elgato. I appreciate that.
Yep. Lingalonga and a few more great friends here. You certainly won't be disappointed. And look forward to doing this again soon.
This upcoming week might be still a little dicey. My kids are getting back to school this week, but I think if not this week, probably next week I'll be able to do a few more. So I'm going to try this week. If I can't do it, look for me to be a little bit more regular the week after.
Well, thank you to Infidian and Jill and Lou Rock and BP49, Elgato, Crazy Kane, Cummings' Culture, Mike Tampa Bay, Big Sexy, and Dose and other friends for joining this live cast, and look forward to hopefully seeing all of them again soon. And I know you're definitely going to keep in touch as always, John.
Absolutely, of course. All right, everybody, I got to go, unfortunately. Love you all. Have a great Sunday. Crazy Kane and my friends down south, be safe with that hurricane.
Love you and God bless you, everybody.
Yep, take care.